Good morning. So I'm on here for a moment because I just did a little guest appearance at a school meeting, and they're preparing for their digital programming to come up. And the principal of the school is a good friend of mine, and she wanted to know ideas for getting the teachers moving, getting the kids moving during class, and really also just to narrow it down to self care for students and teachers. So here are my ideas. I'm recording this live for you guys. And then, of course, other schools can use this, whatnot. So here we go. First of all, I'm going to teach you 5 simple exercises. Now, the school I just spoke with, they're elementary uh, kids. So the verbiage and things can change a little bit. You can reword this if you like. If you're dealing with high schoolers or middle schoolers, make it a little bit more cool. But for elementary kids, these words tend to work really well. And I find even with my adult clients, they like that I use images and words that their bodies recognizes, right? Instead of fancy science words. So the first exercise that can help wake up your body would be the sprinkler. Okay, and we borrow this from Kundalini Yoga actually, but you're going to take your hands and place them on your shoulders. And I love this because the shoulders need to remember to stay down and back. We start to slouch forward and cut off a very important energetic chain here and an artery, in fact, that puts a lot of blood flow through the heart into the head. So we want to open back up this space, and we start to slouch the shoulders. And as we get tense, we even start to over engage and come up through here, and we end up with this caveman look. So sit up straight and then put those shoulders down. Elbows go high. And what we're going to do is we're going to rotate left and right? So you start to move. And the hips are still. And as you rotate, you're going to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. And the head's going to follow. So it'll look like this. All right, so the inhale's on the left and the exhale's on the right. And if you do this for about 30 seconds and then pause and stop, let your hands rest on your lap and take a deep breath in and let it go, you might find that tension has melted away from the shoulders, that the chest wall is back open again, the posture is restored, and you feel that oxygenated blood flowing in the brain again, which helps you think a little bit more. Now, before I show you the next exercise, let's remember that we should really be moving like every 45 minutes if we're at a desk. So I have a fitness tracker. I like the Samsung Active Watch, and I have it set so that every 45 minutes it tells me to move. And in fact, if I do remember to move every hour, and it even says to me, great job, you've been staying active. So if I don't move, if I've been so caught up in my work that I am still sitting still, this thing will go off and it reminds me to move. And it will even give me ideas and say, hey, why don't you try this stretch, or why don't you try this twist? And it means it. It really wants me to get kind of moving, and then it will shut off. Okay, but otherwise it won't leave me alone. And I like that option. So that's something else that would be a great tool to use as a teacher, or even as a parent, to set a watch or set a timer and make sure that your kids are moving. Even if they're listening, they're still actively listening to a presentation, they can certainly be doing some of these exercises I'm showing you today and still be giving their attention to the teacher without being super disruptive. So they're not up around the room running around like, Kevin in Home Alone. Okay. Not that that's bad, but there's a time and a place for it. So the sprinkler is one of those things that they can just start moving through, even if they're still paying attention, if they're not allowed to like get up away from their desk. Elementary kids really should, and really it's everyone, like every 20 minutes, we kind of need to take a very intentional breath, move a little bit, stretch a little bit, because everyone's brain kind of starts to get foggy after 20 minutes, right? So just get the blood flowing. The second one that we can do is called the weeping willow. And this is easy. You can hold onto the side of a chair, you can hold onto a desk, and you just go up and over. Your inhale is the up and over, and your exhale brings you through center. Your inhale, we lift that rib up away from, and exhale, we knit that core back together. And you can really make this an intentional abdominal practice. If you think about how the rib is moving away from this hip that's staying low and then bringing back through. And then I call that the weeping willow for my youngsters. This is actually a mermaid type stretch in Pilates, and you can add the legs to it. So I'm going to show you that. So if you are sitting and these hip flexors start to get really sore after sitting for a while, if you take one leg out to the side and just kind of kick it out there like a kickstand on a bike, and then you're going to move up and through on this side. And you just do a couple of stretches on one side with that leg out, and then you can switch legs and go to the other side. And I feel like I'm playing peekaboo with the camera here, but you get the idea. Now, from there, we're going to move forward to what I call the Christmas tree and snowfall. So one of the exercises you can do to get some leg flow going, besides kicking that kickstand out there, right? And you can even do that. Like I would, if I were teaching an elementary digital class, I would be having little dance breaks and stuff right in your seat even. It just, that stuff is so good for your body. Now, Christmas tree and snowdrop or snowfall. So you're going to bring your arms up over your head and connect them, right? So there's the top of your Christmas tree, but you're going to add a stand to it. So you're going to stand and then slowly sit back down. That's the snowfall. So we don't want to plunk like rocks. We want to drift down like snowflakes. And then inhale, lift, and exhale, we float down. And lift and float down. Just doing like 5 of those can re-energize the brain. So we can keep this simple. There's no need to make like a 30-minute workout out of these things, but those little sprinkles of movement are really going to help you and your student wake up. Now, next, shoulder drop, or we can call this the trap door. So these shrugger muscles can get really tight and again hunched forward. We're here. We need to get those muscles to let go. Now, sometimes what we need to do is super tighten them to then lower them. So you're going to lift up and lower down, and lift up and lower down, and lift up and lower down, and again, and down. One more time. Now, ideally go inhale on the way up, exhale, let it go. Okay, so that's how that works. Now, last but not least, we tend to, as we're working at the computer, slip the neck forward, or if we're looking at our iPads, we're looking at our phones, our head is hanging out down here constantly, right? And then our shoulders start to follow too, and then our upper mid back, and then everything starts to go to crap. But what we want to work on is getting not just those posture muscles from some of those other exercises, but now we need to focus on the neck muscles themselves. So you're going to make the Millennium Falcon is what I call this, right? Where you twist the fingers and you keep your thumbs out. You're going to place that behind your head. Thumbs go down the neck. Now I'm going to go ahead and let my neck fall forward the way it normally would. This is normal posture if we're looking at our iPad and such. But if I now intentionally think about pushing the base of my skull, not necessarily lifting my chin, but pushing the base of my skull into my hands and my hands into my head until I get my ears back over my shoulders, you should feel all of the back of your neck muscles fire up. Like, oh, my head belongs here over my shoulders, and then let the head drop. And now here again, we're not going to throw the head back. We're going to just push the skull into the hands into the skull. Like we're trying to spread that Millennium Falcon apart. All right, so doing that a few times will open up or strengthen the neck extensors because those flexors are always in hyperdrive, falling forward. Next up, use something like an insight timer. That is an app. There's Calm, there's Headspace. I like Insight Timer. It has children meditation. It has adult meditation at 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 30 minutes, you name it. It has music, which you could play during your class, which can really help set an energetic vibe, right? And help the brain. We know music goes well with learning. So using an app like that can really help your mindset and your children's mindset in the classroom. So making sure that you use tools like that to elevate the vibe in your classroom digitally. Also, something to think about here, and this is more for you as the teacher. Children, I mean, as soon as we let them out of the classroom, they're going to go play. They're going to go do things. It's really more for our teens and then also for our teachers, us adults. We get wrapped up in the things that we need to do, that we must do, that we should do, that we have to do. And first of all, I want you to think about the language of that. This is something even myself I've been working on personally. is changing the language to not need to, must do, should do, have to do, because that triggers the sympathetic nervous system, which is the stressed nervous system, if you will. That's the fight or flight response nervous system. And we want that one to turn off a little bit, right? And especially in these times of like anxiety or the unknowns or learning all these new things, we need to instead tap into the parasympathetic nervous system. Movement is a great way to do that. It taps into the parasympathetic nervous system, it relieves stress, but then also how we use our language. So you need to take a shower, but instead, maybe you think, I'm choosing to take a shower right now. Not only that, but maybe I'm going to add playing my favorite music while I take a shower and add in my favorite body lotions or face cream and just really take a couple of extra minutes to chill in that process and let the body feel nourished and be present with that. You need to eat dinner, but perhaps you give yourself a little extra time or at least attention during that time while fixing dinner to enjoy the colors of the food you're making or to sit and actually digest the food that you're eating, to play good music during your meal instead of the evening news. Those are all things that can help bring in a sense of self care into those moments. So it's not just a task or a chore, but almost like a ritual of something that is nourishing your mind, your soul, and your body. I want you to think of activities. So, what's something you love to do that takes an hour? Probably not feasible every day to do that activity, but maybe you can do it at least once a week. Can you write that down and commit to once a week? I will take a long walk outside, or I will take a bath and read a book, or I will go on a bike ride. I will allow myself to sit and watch a TV show for an hour without any guilt or thinking of what else I need to be doing at the same time. What do you want to do for an hour? And can you set aside an hour of just once a week to nourish yourself in that way? Think of something that takes you 30 minutes that you enjoy doing, that makes you feel nourished. Maybe it's reading, maybe it's meeting up with friends, or even calling someone and just chatting with no other purposes whatsoever. Can you commit to that a couple of times a week? Then think of something that takes 10 minutes, just 10 minutes. Can you commit to that daily so that that is something that's part of your routine? Whether it's meditation or stretching every morning or in the evening before bed. Um, Maybe it's taking just a 10-minute walk just to get some fresh air and some sunshine and some movement through your legs. So things like that, like what can you put in for 10 minutes a day to nourish yourself? Now, last but not least, I'm going to teach you just a little meditation that's very easy for elementary kids to do. It's called the Take Five, but I find that it's even really good for teachers and adults, parents at home who are helping their kids. Take five. Take 5 minutes, but it doesn't even have to be 5 minutes. Sometimes resetting your brain and resetting your energy takes just 5 breaths. So I'm going to show you how. So you can keep your eyes open if you like, but you can also close your eyes. And I would encourage participants, if you're doing this with the class or with your students at home or your kids, to have them close their eyes. It helps shut out all outside sensory stimuli so they can really just come home to their breath. So if you're following along, you should be able to do this with your eyes closed, but you can keep them open if you like. Now, after the eyes are closed, and make sure you are seated upright, your ribs are over your hips, your spine is floating over your hips, your head is there at the top of your shoulders, the shoulders are relaxed. You're going to just hold one hand in your lap with the palm up, like you're kind of gently holding the number 5. And then you take the index finger of the other hand and you're going to put it at the base of your thumb, like you're pointing at the base of your thumb. And then with your posture nice and tall but relaxed, with your eyes closed, you're going to take 5 deep breaths. And this is how you're going to inhale up, tracing one side of the thumb for the count of 5. And then exhaling for the count of 5, coming down the other side of the thumb. And then coming up the side of the index finger, inhaling to the count of 5. And exhaling, rolling down the inside of the index finger for the count of 5. And inhale up the middle finger. And exhale to the count of 5 down the middle finger. Inhale up the ring finger. And exhale down the ring finger. And inhale up the pinky. Nice and slow. And exhale down to the count of 5 until the finger traces to the palm of the hand. Open your eyes, take another deep breath in, let it go. And you just took 5 beautiful breaths to reset your energy. Hopefully, your brain feels a little more active and aware. Your shoulders should feel relaxed, and you should be ready to move forward with your next task, your next lesson, or maybe your next moment of self care. Have a beautiful day.